And we're live, and here we are. Wow, what a 3-day adventure we've been having here with the Jack Kirby Museum and Research Center. I'm Rand Hoppe. I am the executive director of the Jack Kirby Museum, and I'm here with. What you guys want to introduce yourself? What do you think about that?
That is why. My name is Lois Dilivio, and I am playing Irma. And this is called Different, which we'll find out. And I also directed. So happy to be here. It's been an amazing journey so far on the birthday celebration. I'm done.
Who's next? Go for it.
I'm Lisa Hoppe, Rand's bride, and I am playing various characters. Done.
I'm John O'Toole. I am playing Mr. Blanchard as well as a few other characters as well, including Jeremiah Standish. No.
Get ready.
Hi there. My name is Roman Pietrs, and I'm playing the part of Gil.
So, Jack Kirby and Joe Simon had a really the post-war comic book business was a pretty rough time. They didn't. There was the soldiers were back from service. There was a lot of turmoil in in all spheres of business after the war, and comic books were not being read in the same way that they were during the war, and there were paper shortages and all kinds of stuff going on. So one of the things that happened was that they were looking at the newsstand, and they discovered that there were pulp magazines like True Confession magazines, and but there were no comic books for that audience. So what they decided to do was to create comic books for the young women, teenage girls, young women who enjoyed romance magazines. So and it was a huge success. They sold millions of copies of each issue. It became a trend that all the other publishers followed suit, and it was just such a great success for Simon and Kirby. So much so that the way I like to call it is that it was so successful that it got them. If you're familiar with the New York area, they got them out of Brooklyn and into the suburbs. They were able to pursue the white picket fence American dream in the suburbs through their success with young romance comics. Having done, I mean, Jack, if you calculate how many stories Jack Kirby drew, it's a significant percentage of his career he spent writing and drawing romance comics. And we often think of him as a Simon, as a superhero guy, a science fiction guy, but he was really big into the romance too. So it's just one of those aspects of his career that we like to talk about. We will have Sydney Heifler, a romance comic scholar, on after this performance. So what we've done, the Hoboken Cartoon of Ministry Players, we've done a number of readings of comics. We've done readings of Kirby comics at the Jack Kirby pop-up. When is that? 2 years ago, we did readings of some of his 2001 Space Odyssey comics. Hilarious, wonderful comics. Great music and direction by Lois on that as well. And we've also done readings of Hoboken-based comics at the Hoboken Historical Museum, and we had a lot of fun with that too. So the players, as we call them, we love doing dramatic readings of comic books and cartoons. So I think it's probably time to get started. Does that seem right? Did I cover all the bases?
Balloons.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So we're going to be presenting the art from the comic, and that's really what you're going to be looking at. We're over here on the left-hand side, and we're going to go away once the reading starts. And what we've done to kind of facilitate our experience is to we've colored the word balloons so that we know who's reading, because it helps us keep track of what our part is. So when you see the comics, there'll be pretty much 2 panels at a time. You'll see that there are colors there. Those have been placed there by us in order to help us with our script. Those are not in the original comic. So there's that. And here's the cover to Young Romance. Oh shoot, number 30. I think it was 1950. It is, I believe there are a number. This is only a 14-page story, so there's a number of comics in this comic book. But it is the only story featured on the cover. It's the story they dared us to print, well, we'll get started. I think. Shall we?
Yeah.
Here we
do
go.
it.
Okay, I have to click a few buttons, and then we'll get started.
Buttons.
I was the happiest girl in town. I could boast of my respected family, travel in the company of the popular younger set, and have exclusive rights to the handsomest boy in the crowd. Then the unforeseen happened. Why did these people I once called friends and neighbors turn against me? Deny my family a living? Destroy my chance for love? Why was I branded as different?
Produced by Simon Kirby.
My father, his name brought a terrible storm upon our family. My fiance, was his love strong enough to resist the pressure of public opinion?
A touchy subject. That is the term used in the magazine field to describe Irma Williams's story. Don't publish it, we were warned by old timers in the trade. It's risky. It will offend too many readers. But we have a deep faith in the sense of fair play of our readers. It is they who will eventually solve this problem, because they know that in another country or in another town, another neighborhood, they too might be called different.
I had scarcely realized that the summer was over until I looked out of the window today, looked at the pint-sized little town, which I shall call Jayville, although that is not its name. The snow covers the town like fresh white paint, but I can see through it, and it will not cover the foulness which I know is still there. I like the winter in Jayville, for the summer brings back the memories of the times when I was one of them. And that is when the shame and the hurt burn deepest.
The heavens have been good to us, Irma, child. Did I ever dream in the old country, when I was a little boy without a loaf of bread, that I would own a house like this someday? Yes, Jacoby Wilhelm has come a long way, a long way.
Oh, Jacoby Wilhelm is a name you left in Europe, Father, along with hunger and poverty. You're Jack Williams now, an American businessman, a success. You deserve everything you have. Look, Father, we can see the town from here. How quiet and peaceful it is.
Quiet and peace are for older people, like your mother and me, Irma. You and your brother must find other things in the town. I hope it will bring us luck.
We had chosen Jayville when Father decided to move his business out of the big city. This was our first contact with the people of a small town, and their friendliness was a welcome change from the casual coldness of the city dwellers.
We've come to welcome you into the neighborhood, Mr. Williams. We're the Blanchards from across the street.
So you already know my name. That will save us the bother of stuffy introductions.
I know how much of a strain moving can be, Mrs. Williams. If there's anything we can do to help.
You've already done more than we can hope to repay. You've made us feel we're not strangers. Come into the house.
Have a cigar, Blanchard. Clear Havana. Have them made up special for me in the city.
Mild, very mild. Understand you're moving here. Your business here, Williams. What line are you in?
Furniture. Had a nice store in the city, but competition's getting too keen there. This town looks like an up-and-coming place. I figure I'll grow with the town.
I think it's a good idea. Good for the kids, too. Nice-looking daughter you have there. She's of marrying age. You gotta think of her. She'll meet the right type of young man here.
Irma is a sensible girl. She'll make friends anywhere.
I looked at these people whose community life we were to share, and I liked what I saw. They were warm, considerate, God-fearing folk. Even now, after all they have done to me, I marvel at the vileness that lives inside them, that was part of them all the time.
Tell me, Blanchard, are all the folks in this town as nice as you people?
Well, you know, Williams, it's like any other town. You find all types.
I expect that. The good and the bad, the poor and the rich.
The rich, ha! There's only one millionaire in this town, but you'll find out for yourself sooner or later. If you want to do business in this town, you'll do it through Jerry.
Jeremiah Standish, eh? I already have dealt with him. Drives a hard bargain. Scared me half to death.
Old Jerry owns most of the town. He's a mean, miserable blue nose who's got us all scared to death. I'm glad there's only one like him.
As we settled down to our new life in Jayville, we found all of our neighbors just as cordial as the Blanchards. It was no time at all before we became absorbed in the life of the community.
Going out again tonight, dear? Don't you think you should get a little more rest?
Nonsense, Mother. I'm simply going for a ride with some of the kids. Oh, mind if I borrow your white topper?
I'm sorry, Irma, darling. I expect to wear it myself. Your father and I have been invited for canasta at the Darrows.
And you talk about me running around. I'll bet you two haven't stayed at home 2 nights this week. You have a good time, Mother. The kids are here to call for me. I'll dash off.
Be home early, Irma.
I had many friends, gone out with various boys in the few months that we had called Jayville our home. I knew it would be just a matter of time before I would pair off with one of them. I hoped it would be Gil Hunter.
Hop in, Irma. Choose yourself a nice, comfortable lap to sit on.
You mean I have a choice? Then I'll take Gil Hunter. He looks stable enough to support my 114 pounds.
This is a break for me. But then you don't have much to choose from among the schmoes in this jalopy.
Oh, don't be modest, Gil. I'd take you, even if you had competition like Farley Granger. It was, in my own modest way, a declaration that I was interested. Gil Hunter caught on quickly enough. He seemed to be quite satisfied with the arrangement.
Stop me if I'm jumping to conclusions, Irma, but I consider you my girl now.
It's about time you got the idea, Gil. I've been trying to make it known to you ever since we first met.
You've got yourself a sweetheart, sweetheart.
Act like a sweetheart before you call yourself one, Mr. Hunter. His lips were warm and tender as they pressed against mine. Our kiss was clean and sweet as the fresh country breeze that swept through my hair. I lingered in his arms. It was love, pure and simple.
I didn't even know. I'll be ding busted if I'm not in love with you.
It's a wonderful town you have here, Gil. Everything furnished for the citizens. A boy, a girl to suit each other. And love.
Any complaints?
Of course not, darling. I think it's wonderful. I love it. I love the town, and most of all, I love you.
Hey, look! Congratulations are in order. A couple of poor sops around here seem to have fallen in love.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go somewhere and scare up a toast to the foolish couple. How about the country club? Not for me. My dad isn't a member. We're not the filthy rich, you know.
That's no hurdle. Irma's pop is a big shot at the club. You can fix it up. Can't you, Irma?
Sure, I could fix it up. Father was doing quite well now, and he took an active part in the social life of the community. The country club set, exclusive to a fault, had lost no time in extending us invitations for membership.
Good evening, Miss Williams. We have a choice table for you and your party.
Thank you, Henry. I think I'd like to dance first. Shall we, Gil?
You make me right proud, Irma. I'll bet I'm the envy of every fellow in this stuffy place.
And I'm the envy of every girl. Oh, Gil, I'm so happy.
Get a load of that tomato Jim Perkins is dancing with. Looks out of place in this club.
I know her. She's from the Shanty District. Some of those foreigners are great in the cheesecake department.
I knew little about the element in town that was outside of my direct circle of friends. Jim Perkins was well known to all of us. He was a spoiled, sophisticated member of our set. I wondered that he should be dating the overdressed, over-voluptuous creature in his arms. My curiosity increased when I heard the buzz of rumors.
Wonder what Jim sees in her.
There's only one reason why Jim's taken her out. She's like the rest of the foreign babes. She's easy.
Those kids are worse than old women. You'd think they'd find something better to do than tear down some girl they evidently don't even know.
Cads are the worst stripe, I'd say. I know. They're both friends of mine.
Well, I don't care. They had no right to talk that way about...
Talk. When I hold you this close, there's nothing I like less than talk.
The simplicity of our romance was little short of a miracle to me. This boy, who had been a face in the crowd, was now the only boy in the world. I was terribly in love with Gil. The delicious wonder of it was continually a part of me. Being a woman, Mother was quick to notice.
It's nice, Irma. Gil is a fine boy. Does he come from a nice family?
Why don't you invite them over, Mother? That's what you're hinting at, isn't it? Even if I wanted to, I couldn't have kept those two sets of doting parents from getting together. Gil and I stood aside, loving each other with our eyes, as we listened to the folks extolling our respective virtues.
And when Gil was a little boy at school, his teachers said he was very talented. I always encourage him.
My, a child prodigy. You never told me, Gil.
It's an exaggeration, of course, but let them have a good time. They're probably boring each other silly.
I doubt it. Dad hasn't fallen asleep yet. That means he likes your father.
My, how the time has flown. It's almost midnight, Dad. Time we call it an evening.
Well, it certainly has been nice talking to you folks. Gil is getting a fine girl. She's just what we wanted for him. Good American stock.
Good American stock. I was to remember those words in the months that followed. How they would mock me, torment me. When did it all start? I asked myself now. It was the day my grandparents paid us a visit.
Mama, Papa, it's good to see you. Why didn't you let us know? We would have picked you up at the station.
Your papa can get around by himself, Jacoby. It cost us $50 to travel here. Another 50 cents won't bankrupt me. Listen, Jacoby, a funny thing happened in the taxi cab. I asked the driver to take me to Jacoby Wilhelm's residence. He never heard of you. And then I remembered, it's Williams here. Jack Williams. How could I be so absent-minded?
It was a laughable incident, and Father turned to Henry, the cab driver, expecting to be joined in a good chuckle. But Henry obviously found no humor in the situation. His face averted, he was away in a cloud of smoke before Dad could tip him. Dad stood there watching him, as if weighing the consequences of some unseen threat.
What is it, Jacoby? Have I said something wrong?
No, no, of course not, Papa. Come in and see the new place.
Jack Williams, Jacoby Wilhelm, what does it matter what name a man is known by, I wondered. How naive I was. For those few letters which Dad chose to juggle around were to grow like a dark cloud into a tempest that threatened to destroy us all. I saw the storm warning almost at once. Mary Blanchard, I haven't seen you since Sunday. Where have you been? Can I help with the packages?
No, thank you. I can manage myself quite nicely.
Okay, I'll call you tonight.
I'll be busy tonight, Irma. Suppose you wait for my call?
The faces of my friends and neighbors, huddled there together like a pack of frightened hounds, were turned from me, and I couldn't be sure of what I saw in them. Suddenly I was alone, terribly, hopelessly alone. It was a feeling I couldn't explain or understand as I hurried into Dad's store. Oh, hello, Dad. Need a hand? I'll wrap the lamp for Mr. Andrews.
This isn't a sale, darling. It's a bad piece of merchandise. The lamp must have been damaged in shipping. Mr. Andrews wants to exchange it.
No, I don't, Williams. I want to return it.
Just as you say, Mr. Andrews. These things happen, you know. I'll send it back to the factory. They'll make good.
Maybe these things do happen. Then again, I've heard about certain merchants in this town who make a good profit selling faulty goods.
I don't follow you, my friend.
Don't think you can sell us second-class junk for first-class prices. Your kind have different ideas about business. It won't go in this town.
My kind?
You know what I mean, Williams, or Wilhelm, or whatever your name is. You're not fooling us for one instant. A man doesn't changes simply by taking a new name.
No, people don't change. That's why I can't bear my rightful name as other men do. I must shun it, as if my name were a curse.
I'll be back when you have more time, Mr. Williams.
I'm in a hurry. See you later.
Father drove us home in silence. I wanted to hold his hand in mine, to comfort him, tell him how proud I was to be his daughter. But all I could do was sit by his side like a waxen dummy. I wondered if Gil had heard. I soon found out.
Hello, honey. What's wrong? You're not dressed to go out.
I don't know, Gil. I wasn't sure you'd be over tonight.
Aw, come on, Irma. I know all about it. You're not going to let a bunch of narrow-minded stinkers get you down, are you? Those fools aren't worth one of your tears.
Oh, Gil, darling, it's so frightening, so insane. Everyone in town seems to be a Jekyll and Hyde.
Nonsense. You know that's not true. You've got to take this calmly, Irma.
Calmly? They called us foreigners, Gil, only they made it sound more like lepers, and that's how we're being treated, like lepers. You say take this calmly?
I suppose it's bound to upset you, but listen to me, Irma. Don't ever feel like your family must face this alone. I want you to know, whatever they say, whatever you are, it doesn't make a bit of difference to me. I love you. I'll stand by you.
Thank you, noble knight. Only I don't see why my family and I must be put through this ordeal. We've done nothing. We haven't hurt nor insulted anyone.
Irma, You've got to realize that there's been a change. You're not like one of our tribe anymore. You're different. Your name is different. Your ancestry is different. You can't dodge those facts.
Is that the way you see it?
Of course not. To me, you've got the same adorable face. You're the same wonderful girl I fell in love with. Even if you had horns growing from your head, I couldn't help loving you.
I may as well have horns if what you say is true. I'm sorry, Gil. Would you mind if I don't keep our date tonight? I'm not in the mood. The real weight of the problem began bearing down upon us that very week. Father's flourishing business fell off to a dangerous level.
Here, Irma, a present from the country club. They want to be paid for a year's membership in advance.
It's their polite way of canceling us out. But who needs them? The way business is going, I'm more worried about more mouths to feed than canasta games.
I'm glad. I always did think they were a stuffy crowd. They're much too exclusive for my tastes.
Billy, look at you. You're a mess.
He's been fighting again.
It was Donald Wilson. I had to hit him. He called me a name.
What name? When my brother repeated the name, all the silent grief that my ancestors had endured came out of the darkness and struck us a mortal blow. We stood there for a moment, the four of us finding shelter in each other's company. I was the first to leave. Gil, I'd like to be with you tonight. Let's go out. Will you pick me up?
Sure thing, honey. Be right over.
There was a new look about Gil when I got into his car, a sort of hangdog expression which I'd never seen before. The cause was apparent almost at once. You've had an argument, haven't you? Was it your parents, Gil?
Let's get married, Irma. We'll get out of this town. It's the only solution. We must go away where they can't get at us.
My father tried that. You see what's happened? No, Gil, running away isn't the answer.
Well, what is the answer? Should we stay here and be driven apart?
What's the barrier between myself and these people? They say I'm not one of them, that I'm different. I'm going to stay here and show them that I'm not, that I have the same virtues, the same faults.
Why are you so stubborn, Irma? You're like all the rest of them. Can't talk any sense into you. You foreigners are too stupid when you know you've been beaten.
Gil!
I didn't mean that. I'm sorry, honey. I've been under such pressure these past few days. I find it hard to take.
Gil, I want to go home. The words had been said, and Gil's profuse apologies could not erase them from my mind. When we returned to my house, Gil put his arm around me. But it wasn't the same. It wasn't the tender pressure of a sweetheart, but the gentle arm of a sympathetic stranger. Goodbye, Gil. Perhaps it would be better for both of us if we didn't see each other again.
Irma.
I left him there and entered the house, my very soul torn from me by the cruelty of injustice and the departure of love. I was spent and empty, prey to despair. But when I turned to close the door, Gil was there behind me.
I won't let you go, Irma. I'm a fool, a bore, but I'm in love with you.
Gil held me tightly in his arms. The warmth and comfort of them flowed through me again. Gil was still mine. I was oblivious of everything but that one thought. That was probably why I was so startled when I heard the man's voice.
There's a sensible young man, Williams. Feels about the same way about you folks as I do.
We have a celebrated guest, Irma. This is Mr. Standish, Jeremiah Standish. I almost fell over when he dropped in to see me.
Nonsense. I am no different from anyone else. And neither are you, Williams. That different business is only for fools who have nothing better to do than nurse grudges and petty jealousies. That's why I make more money than all of them. I don't waste my time on such hogwash.
Mr. Standish holds my mortgage. I sent him notice that I was giving up the business, but he wouldn't accept it.
That's right. This town will die on its feet if we allowed good modern businessmen like you to get away from us. I like the way you do business. I judge a man by the way he pays his debts. Come and see me in the morning. We'll see through this thing together.
You're a fine and decent man, Jeremiah Standish. I won't forget this.
I've seen your daughter around town, Williams. Cutest of the lot. Let me know when you two get married. I love weddings. So does my wife.
You'll have the first invitation, Mr. Standish. That will make it a real social event.
I'll expect you early, Jack. Give us time to talk. I'll tell you about my ancestors. Scoundrels, every one of them.
That's probably because they always had the edge on those who called them scoundrels, Jeremiah.
When the door closed after Mr. Standish, the house was filled with a warm, pleasant silence. The tension of distress was gone, and I somehow knew we would be all right. Oh, Gil, he's a wonderful man. I wish the others in this town were like Mr. Standish.
Old Jerry sets the pace in this town. When the others find out where he stands, they'll change their tune pronto.
Oh, I don't care what happens now, Gil, as long as I know you love me.
Sure do, honey. Sure do.
The snow is falling faster now, and it covers my window with a white mist which blurs my view of the town. Will the foulness remain there forever? Or will the town be a little kinder, a little purer when the snow has cleared?
Different.
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 Different, I tell you. And
I
that is it.
Different.
All right.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that, folks.
All right.
We have a comment from Cha5 on YouTube. I think you're it's pretty wise observation. And oh, that's true. There's that too. Very good point.
Well, that. It's interesting when Mr. Wilhelm says, well, of course I changed my name, or I only had to change it because of, of how people treat me, or I forgot what the line was, but
yeah.
That was very telling and very, I don't know, it was just to turn it back on, I can't choose words now, but.
Oh, that's okay. Well, if anybody has any other questions, I'd just like to say thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Lois. You did a great job pulling it all together.
Everybody.
My lovely wife, Lisa, Roman, Peters, John O'Toole, my old friend. It's really, really great to get together and work on a creative project like this. And he's out.
Just like that.
Okay, that's it. All right, guys.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Thank you.
That was really fun.
Yay.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye.